Hello, everyone, and welcome to Post-Apocalyptic Media, the podcast. I am your host, Derek Dwilson, Derek the Diplomat, and I am joined by Shawn the Scavenger.
How you doing?
And Stephanie the Scribe.
Hello.
We have a great show today. We are talking about Fallout expansions. We're talking about new movies that are coming out post-apocalyptic. Fear the Walking Dead, which spoiler, it's really good. It's I've really liked the comeback. I feel like they hit a low point at some point, maybe a couple seasons ago, and have really come back roaring. So not to get too deep into that before it's proper time. Shawn, what's your topic this week?
My topic is a movie that's coming out in December called The Midnight Sky with George Clooney. It stars George Clooney. It's directed by George Clooney, and it's produced by George Clooney. So it's it's probably going to be a hit. Here's my prediction. I have a prediction. It's going to be the breakaway hit of 2020.
Oh, wow.
Wait, you heard it here first, folks.
I said that last week, too. So. No, it looks good, though. It looks... so here's the premise of the movie.
Right.
The world ended. Some kind of global catastrophe happened. We don't really know what it is yet. And there's an exploration team of astronauts that are out somewhere in space. And they were doing some kind of... I don't really know what it is exactly, but they're exploring space. And the world ended. George Clooney is an Arctic researcher. And he's like one of the last people left on Earth. And so he's trying to warn these people while they're coming back to Earth, like, don't come back to Earth. You know, it's not safe here. And so he tries to get in contact with them, and he can't. So he's trying to find a bigger antenna, which they have like still on the Arctic. So he's trying to make like an adventure out there to get this antenna to reach the astronauts. And meanwhile, you see the other side of that from the astronauts' point of view, where they're like, you know, we haven't heard from Earth in 3 weeks. We don't know what's going on. Should we still go there? You know, and so it's kind of cool. It's like both sides of it. And it seems like a pretty cool idea. And, you know, as far as post-apocalyptic, I mean, it's definitely, I mean, you know, the world has been wiped out, so that counts. But you're not going to see like Mad Max cars and, you know, stuff like that, unfortunately. But it's very space centric, plus, you know, the stuff on the ground on Earth too. So I think it looks really cool.
That sounds good. That sounds really. And you said that's a movie, not a series.
Yeah, it's coming out on December 23rd of this year.
Oh wow! Right before Christmas.
Yeah, it's actually coming out on Netflix and in theaters. And
really?
I don't know if they've done that before. It seems like, I don't know how they're going to do that. Like, I guess you would still want to go see it in theater if you want that experience, especially now. You know, it's so selective with COVID and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm worried about, and this is just me, but you know how Disney Plus started doing kind of like a Disney Plus Plus, like they have a bonus subscription. I hope Netflix isn't doing that.
Oh, interesting. So when you say Disney Plus Plus, you mean like you have to pay sometimes for some of the movies that are coming out, even if you have Disney Plus? Yeah,
exactly. You pay your subscription to Disney Plus, and then I think it was Milan, the live action Milan movie just came out, and they're making you pay extra for that. And it's like, what?
Really?
So I hope Netflix isn't doing that.
You know what? I think I recall hearing that Netflix was sometimes going to open some movies limited number in theaters so they could compete in the Emmys.
Oh, okay.
And because there's a certain number of theaters you have to be shown in order to compete in the movie category rather than the telemovie category or something like that. Yeah.
Well, that's better than my idea, though, I think.
Yeah, so I think maybe that's why they're I really hope they don't like hear your idea on this podcast and think, that
Netflix,
is great.
if you're listening, no.
No one would want that, Netflix. I'm really excited about that movie, though. That sounds really good.
Yeah, the trailer dropped today, the day we're recording this, and they had a teaser yesterday where they kind of said, we're going to drop this big trailer. It's a 2-minute trailer, so it's not, you know, anything huge. It does kind of reveal a couple new things. that we didn't know before. One of the things that I think was really interesting, well, there are two of them. One of them is when he describes what happened at the end of the world, he says, we made mistakes. And then they show this bird. He's like out at night and he has a flashlight shining at the ground. There are all these dead, they look like pigeons in the snow, which is really weird. And one of them is twitching. And that's all they show. So I don't know if it's like a viral, pandemic thing, or I don't know.
There are so many interesting twists with the whole birds dying in droves being kind of an indicator of something bad about to happen. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't know where they'll go with that. The other thing I think was kind of interesting is there was this little girl that was with him in this research lab, and she, he's a researcher, and he looks like he's been there a while. He probably lives there. He's got this big beard, so he's like, left society, I guess. And but there's this little girl that's next to him and he's talking to, and she has this dress on that I described it in my post as like a Little House on the Prairie looking dress, very old fashioned. But she doesn't say anything, and she's always off to the side. And I just wonder if that's a real person or if it's like something he cooked up in his imagination. So I don't know.
Interesting.
That's my take on it.
Maybe whatever killed the birds helped ghosts like materialize and become corporeal.
Oh, there you
go. And that is,
Don't spoil it.
I'm just totally out there. Now I'm thinking about simulations and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, George Clooney. So wrote, directed, stars in.
Well, he didn't write it. He might have co-written it. He the guy who wrote it actually is from the movie The Revenant, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh,
which is a really good movie.
Honestly, until you said that, I wasn't even really.
Really?
I didn't know if I was going to watch it.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I'm not
so
I'm not in the tank for Clooney personally, but The Revenant was an outstanding movie.
Oh yeah. It was.
For a movie with very little dialogue and following basically one character the entire movie, it is very hard to keep you engaged, and Revenant does it very, very well.
So I wonder if there'll be any bears in this one.
Yeah,
Space
I'm
bears.
gonna do a Google on that. Make sure there's at least one bear.
Requirement for every survival movie.
Bears
terrify me.
Has Clooney done anything else in this space in post-apocalyptic?
I can't think of anything. The only thing I can think that's close is like Three Kings, but that was a war movie. That wasn't really.
Yeah.
So curious.
What about Armageddon? Was he in that? He seems like the kind of movie he'd be in.
If he was probably like a general or something. I don't know. He's actually one of my favorite movies of all time was Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And he killed it in that movie. Yes. I'm not a like a fanboy, but I like his work. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, I like his work too.
Yeah, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Great movie, and great role by Clooney. All right, well, that is coming out December 13th?
23rd.
23rd, okay.
Yep.
All right, mark your calendars, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we need to add that.
All right, moving on. Stephanie, what is your topic this week?
Well, my topic this week is Fear the Walking Dead. We have the new season 6. I've watched they just premiered episode 3 on Sunday. I've watched the first 2 so far. So I'm just one episode behind, but it's good. You mentioned it too in the intro. Fear the Walking Dead is really good this season. They're doing kind of an anthology approach where they focus on just 1 or 2 characters in each episode because they all got separated. And it's so far the approach is working. And I read a few comments from people in a discussion about the 3rd episode, and they were all saying the same thing, that they're still really impressed with it, that this anthology approach is going well for the show. I was concerned about how the anthology approach would work because I know like when Walking Dead has done that and separated characters out in the past, I didn't necessarily love it, except for the The Daryl Beth episode was really good when they did that. That one was phenomenal. But most of the time I'm not a big fan of separating them out that much. But this time it's working. I still have a few little things that bug me. Not to be super spoilery about the first 2 episodes, but I will say, well, Derek and I, both when we were watching the first episode, we're talking about this. They've made it very clear in both The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead universe that if you cover yourself up with zombie guts, and walk real slowly, they don't recognize you. And a similar feeling is in play for the whole whisperers and what they do. It's not zombie guts, but it's a similar reasoning that they aren't recognized by the walkers. But in the first episode, I'll just say that a character had to go through a much harder, he had to go around and do these different things to avoid this horde of zombies. And Morgan, who should have known about the blood thing because he's been in both the regular Walking Dead group and the Fear the Walking Dead group around Nick, never said anything to this other guy about how, hey, you can just walk through the horde if you cover yourself in zombie guts.
Yeah. But you gotta get icky.
I know. And it's better to risk getting bitten than getting icky. And it doesn't.
Yeah, who likes being icky?
Yeah, right. I mean, maybe they don't have access to showers or water, and he just would rather take the 5-day longer road and avoid all of that. And, it always bugs me when they have this solution and they kind of act like, oh, we forgot about this. At least mention it and why he can't do it, At least acknowledge that you have this. Because that was a huge part of, like, Nick's storyline, how he embraced that fully and became kind of badass for a while, embracing it like he did. And then Walking Dead did it too. And with Walking Dead, at least they pointed out that if you scream or something, make a sudden move, they'll see through it,
Yeah,
but
they're having some trouble keeping continuity in these series. It's starting to get a little too big, and I'm noticing that they're changing some of the rules. So if you remember, it was several seasons ago when The Walking Dead started to have their zombies become more and more decomposing shamblers, basically. They were saying, okay, it's been several years. Surely the zombies aren't, fresh spring chickens like they were. Now they're starting to fall apart. They're getting slower. They're dragging along. Their bones are falling off. That makes sense to me. But at some point, I think they realized, oh crap, eventually these zombies decompose to the point where they're not a threat to anyone. And, if most people, died a long time ago and only some people survived, only a few fresh zombies should be around.
That's a good point.
But now if you look, they're all fresh zombies again. They kind of did an about face on that. In Fear the Walking Dead, they just, I know it's a little spoilery, but it's a small thing, and it's important to talk about. They just established that zombies aren't just attracted to noise anymore, which used to be the case. You used to be able to honk a horn and get the herd to follow you or play some music. But now there's a factor when it comes to, what is it, fresh meat or something, right?
Like something about like fresh blood can actually overpower sound as far as attracting them, which I don't, like we always knew they were drawn to fresh blood, but it always seemed like sound was like the thing that would attract them no matter what. And they just recently threw out that twist where sometimes it doesn't work that way. I'm like, really? Because we kind of heard the opposite for like 10 years, but or however long it's been. It's convenient for the plot. But yeah, we've got some really badass characters now. I mean, we've got, Morgan is back to being, very formidable. Strand, I think, is going to become, they've built it up where he's going to be more formidable. I keep waiting. I mean, Alicia is, but I'm kind of affected by the fact that she played Lexa on the 100, who was like post-apocalyptic queen ruling the world. And so I'm like, this actress can do so much more. If y'all will just really let her embrace it and grow. And they keep keeping her at kind of like the same level. I'm like, and I always want her to like kind of turn Lexa, just become total warrior mode after everything she's been through. But she's kind of stayed about the same, kind of took, I guess, the moral compass now, kind of. But they're building up some of these characters to be pretty interesting to watch this time, and it just seems to overall be a better storyline.
Yeah, overall, I've been very impressed by it. It hasn't been as slow as in previous seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as hokey.
That's true.
I think it was last season. Was it last season that they introduced the gunslinger?
Yeah. Well, I'm not positive, but I think so.
All right. So for those of you who haven't seen it, and you're probably sitting there at home thinking, who is this guy? Why is he criticizing this great show, Fear the Walking Dead? Let me just give you an example of what I mean by hokey. There was one point in the show where two zombies are shambling towards somebody who's like lying on the ground. And there's one guy with a gun, trying to save him. And he goes, I got one bullet left. He's got one bullet. And so he's like, hold up that axe. And so the guy laying on the ground holds up this axe. And the guy with the gun is like this old Western shooter, like never miss, shoot off your trigger finger type. And he shoots the axe head in such a way that the axe cuts the bullet in two, and the bullets fly apart and kill both zombies.
Oh no!
Yes. It was very that they were like, let's dabble a little in the whole Z Nation type of feel and see how that goes. That was so, I remember that one, and I think it was that same season where they had remember there was some scene where Dwight was in a car and the whole back window was shattered and destroyed and open, and there were all these zombies like trying to get into the car, but none of them were able to climb into the car.
Yes.
And they were just pushing their hands, and just like this the whole time in the background. It's like, no, they would be like crawling inside, and but he was safe with his smashed out back window.
He was chilling. He
chilling.
wasn't hurting anybody. They didn't mind. That was unbelievable too. I agree. That was another moment. Shawn, you're not current in Fear the Walking Dead, correct?
No, but now I want to be.
You should be. You got to see that axe moment.
Yeah, that's yeah.
It gives chills. Let's just say it is a triumphant moment for Fear the Walking Dead. So yeah, we rag on Fear the Walking Dead a lot, but I just want to say it is getting way better. In fact, I would say that this season of Fear the Walking Dead, it just started, but the way it started has me so optimistic about it. Revolution, or was it Revolution or Revolutions? Do y'all remember?
Revolution.
Okay, Revolution. Yeah. Revolution in season 2 kind of got into this place where it was about these large scale factions that were vying for large amounts of territory. And I was really getting into it. Unfortunately, it got canceled after that second season.
Yeah.
But Fear the Walking Dead's getting into that space for me right now. And I hope it stays there. And I hope it explores that dynamic of large groups coming to head. But it's doing that. It's doing it well. Morgan, if you followed the Morgan journey through all of these seasons of The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, you've seen him change his personality half a dozen times.
Yeah.
He's kind of landed in this place where I guess he earned it. He's like he's turned a very pragmatic utilitarian. Whereas before he was super pacifist. And you kind of go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and then before that, he was crazy.
Yeah, yeah. He starts out like, with his kid and wife, and then something happens to them, and he goes crazy. Anyways, he's completed this enormous story arc to become a very nuanced, kind of a badass character, and I think he earned it. It wasn't like one season, he just turned into it. He's earned it. I think that it was a fairly satisfying journey.
Yeah.
And now he's a more interesting character than, say, in my opinion, he has been for some seasons. You know what? Let's talk about what we're currently watching, because we just talked about Fear the Walking Dead. There's only a few post-apocalyptic shows that I'm watching, and in fact, Stephanie's also watching right now.
Yeah.
Fear the Walking Dead, Walking Dead: The World Beyond, which is in its first season, and also I'll bring up we are rewatching Attack on Titan right now.
It is so good. It is so good. My first watch through for me.
Okay, all right. So Steph, you're 20 episodes in. What is your
is that how far
big takeaway right now? Yep.
It is so good. That is my big takeaway. It is crazy how layered it is, how well they do cliffhangers at the end, where I'm telling Derek, we have to watch the next one. What? Like this one zombie, I'm getting them all mixed up. This one Titan attacked at the very end of one episode. I was like, oh my gosh, where did he come from? We have to watch this. We can't stop now. I was surprised. Like, I watched the first episode several years ago, and it, I just watched the first episode. Didn't really get me. But now, gosh, it is really good. Yeah, I'm excited.
I'd say that don't watch it in a way that you're just kind of half paying attention, because it's going to confuse and lose you so fast. It is one of those shows you have to pay attention to, and I think that was one of my mistakes at the start. Also, I was watching it kind of piecemeal as it came out, and that is not going to work for me, at least. There was too much time between episodes, and I wasn't able to fully comprehend the picture they were painting. But those are the three we're watching right now. What are you watching, Shawn?
Not a whole lot of post-apocalyptic stuff. I watched Love and Monsters last week. I talked about that though last week, and what's funny is I watch a lot of Pluto TV. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's like a free. It's like old style TV where you just turn it on and anything will be on. It's not on demand. And it's a free channel. And I watched that, and they have a whole Walking Dead channel. So this weekend we had some family over, and we're kind of just, you needed something in the background that you didn't have to actually pay attention to. So I flipped that on, and it was the episode. Well, it was one of the episodes where I actually saw it before. They're in the prison. The governor's there, and I can't think of what else significant was happening, but there were a couple episodes. The bad thing is they're not in order on this channel. It's kind of just random Walking Dead, episodes. So I saw one, and then I got kind of mixed up with the other one. But it's so funny to see these. Even what was that? Probably season 4, season 5 or so, when the governor was there, and in the prison and all that. But they were so young. Like Carl was just this little kid, and and Rick had his short hair and everything. It's just so funny to watch that. But that's basically been it for me. I mean, I've been playing. Can I talk about what game I've been playing?
Sure.
Because I've been doing more of that than watching TV. I've been playing Fallout 76. And I have a group of friends we play every Tuesday night, and we usually play MMOs or something like that. But we jumped into Fallout 76. I've never played it before this. We started a couple weeks ago, but because I never had a computer that could handle it, and I just bought a new computer recently.
Nice. And
I love it. I mean, there are, of course, things that kind of suck about it, like when you go in an instance, everyone has to do the instance themselves, which kind of drives me crazy. You know, each person has to go in and talk to the NPC in the instance. That's kind of like a 2004 mechanic, you know. But as far as the gameplay itself, I love the camps, you know, setting up your camp and then be able to take it down and take it somewhere else and move it. I love that. I love the gameplay because I'm a huge fan of just what Bethesda's done with Fallout in general, you know, even like Fallout 3, New Vegas, and Fallout 4, of course. So this is kind of like a multiplayer extension of that, which is exactly what I wanted, you know. So I'm having fun in it.
Speaking of camps, there are some videos that you can watch where people use the camp system in order to trick other players and do terrible things to them.
Those are so funny.
And I love those videos. Like one guy like built this camp on a cliffside and like somehow engineered it so that there was a platform that like flings you. And he just like was flinging people off the side of a cliff.
So funny.
And, you know, in Fallout, damage counts, you know, fall damage.
Yeah.
So, you know, they'd be dead at the bottom of this cliff area. There's another one who built like this Satanist church looking thing. And like you walk in and he locks the door behind you and then like flames start coming out of the walls and he runs in with a knife and stabs you. It's pretty weird, but if you have a twisted sense of humor, then you can have fun watching that. Fallout 76, man. So yeah, you know, I'll give a little bit of pushback. We don't. I try to play up the disagreements we have on this channel. I try to, you know, naturally I'm an agreeable person, but here's the thing: Fallout 76.
Don't like it.
I'm not here's the like, okay, so you talked about the quests. I remember doing a quest with some friends and your friends are there. Like you're not interested in reading reams of dialogue and figuring it out. And like the quest had me go and kill some protesters. Like it was just like some ghouls who wanted equal rights or something. And like we just went and slaughtered them because there was no choice. There was no like, you know, moral quandary there. It was just, here's the quest, you go kill them. And that's it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that just doesn't satisfy me as a Fallout fan. But, you know, to be honest, I quit Fallout 76 when I got killed by a deathclaw for like the 10th time. So maybe I'm just sour grapes. That deathclaw, man, it was bad. All right, starting from here, everybody, I'm about to do my segment, but before I do, a few words. First of all, thank you for listening to our podcast. We appreciate you. If you like us, then I'm going to ask you to do something. If you're of the mind, give us a like, give us a subscribe, a share, whatever it is that your app lets you do to show us that you're a fan. And by the way, thank you to whoever rated us on Apple Podcast. So far, we have one review of 5 stars.
Ooh, thank you.
So batting 1,000. If you are of the mind, please leave us a review. That reviewer was kind to give us 5 stars, but did not write a review. So a written review. I challenge you, if you like this podcast, if you don't like the podcast, leave a written review. Why not? You know, we can't do anything about it.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
And all our competing podcasts are going to go leave some reviews. That's fine. It was always your right. Also, special thanks to Morning Owl Media. morningowlmedia.com. If you have aspirations, you have a podcast, video editing needs, Morning Owl Media kind of does it all. So look that up. See if that service can help you. Morning Owl has been doing a lot of this stuff that you see around right now in this YouTube and in the podcast, the audio version of the podcast. Morning Owl is doing edits and making it look really great. So thank you, Morning Owl. And to continue, the final segment is Fallout related. Now, Fallout 4 has a very developed mod community. This is a podcast not just about the mods. I could do a full podcast every week about Fallout 4 mods. That's how much stuff is going on in that community right now. But I want to narrow the focus to three particular mods that are basically creating a whole new game with the mod system. First of all, big announcement this month: Sim Settlements 2 came out. In fact, Sim Settlements 2 was only announced this month, and it was just released a few days ago. So what is Sim Settlements? Sim Settlements is basically, if you played Fallout 4, you probably know there is a settlement system where you can go in and like build houses and resources and plant gardens and do all the kind of humdrum survival stuff that you might want to do. But, you know, they add some layers to it because in your settlements, you first of all have spies. There are androids basically who look just like people, act just like people. You can't tell which is which, and every once in a while they will turn on your people and kill them. So you have that, but you also have raiders and all sorts of things coming to attack you, mutants. So you build turrets, you really beef up your settlement, but that's it. And you do it all yourself. So even though you recruit a dozen people to come live in your settlement, you're the only one working while they all sit around and watch you. Which is kind of silly. So Sim Settlements decided, hey, what if we make the settlements build themselves and you can act more as a manager, kind of a high level warrior type instead. So that's the system they built up. They've been going at this for a while now, for more than a year since I discovered it. And they are great when it comes to updates. If you're on YouTube, King Gath is constantly uploading updates for this, but they just released Sim Settlements 2. And you know what it does? It not only makes your settlements build themselves, it makes them a lot more interesting. They start to, you know, if you upgrade them, they can produce certain kinds of goods that actually help you to enrich yourself, to accomplish more things. They've incorporated things where like settlements need to be conquered, or the settlements you do have can send out troops to assist you in tasks. And then they built storylines and recorded audio and put their audio in there. It is a whole game built on top. So we are going to show you right now, if you're on YouTube, the announcement trailer for Sim Settlements 2. It just came out, and let's check that out.
The Commonwealth. It's seen better days. After the Great War, civilization never really did recover. People were afraid to reach out for something better. And honestly, who could blame them? Well, if no one is gonna do it, I guess I'll have to. But I can't do it alone. I'm gonna need a partner. Hey, Slick. What took you so long?
You don't seem to understand who we are.
I doubt it'll be easy. Nothing worthwhile ever is. But between the two of us, I reckon we can do it. So what do you say? Want to rebuild the Commonwealth?
You can call me Aiden. And without sounding too melodramatic, I hunt down gunners.
All right, so that is super exciting to me. I watched that video and I think this looks great. And I'm glad that these people are working on it. They're not getting paid for this, by Bethesda at least. And This is a mod. A lot of mods are PC only. This is not one of them. If you just have an Xbox, you can still get this mod. Not sure about PlayStation, but Xbox is definitely available. Apparently, there was a misstep on the Xbox. They're having some bugs that they're having to work out. Not surprised. Free to play thing like this. So just be warned. There, you might run into some issues there right off the start if you're playing on Xbox. But Sim Settlements, if you're at all interested in that, give it a try. It's boy, is that a labor of love. I'm sure that they spend hundreds of hours working on that.
Yeah.
It's important to note, too, this is Sim Settlements 2. The first one was released a couple years ago, so this is like a follow-up.
Yes, yeah. I mean, talk about an active community. This is a game that came out years and years ago.
Yeah.
Sim Settlements 1 came out 2 years ago, you said? And now...
probably more than that, yeah.
Golly, wow. Yeah, and they're still doing it. They're still running contests who can build the best city. Very impressive. We've talked about them before. Something we haven't really talked about on this show before is Fallout 4 New Vegas. And a part of that is that I have been very skeptical about their project. Not too long ago, I was following them closely, and then they posted this thing about how they talked to Bethesda and found out they can't use most of the audio from the game legally. And that, to me, I felt like that was a signal like Bethesda is going to put the brakes on this, because it seems like they can. To explain what Fallout 4 New Vegas is New Vegas was a previous Fallout. In between 3 and 4, there was New Vegas. The makers of Fallout 4 New Vegas want to recreate the whole New Vegas game within the Fallout 4 engine. So why would they want to do that? Well, first and foremost, and probably their number one reason, is the graphics.
Yeah.
Bottom line, going back and playing New Vegas after playing Fallout 4 is a little let down when it comes to the graphics.
Yeah.
New Vegas was pretty buggy, I recall. And there is a deep, deep love of New Vegas in the Fallout community. Some people are pretty extreme about their New Vegas fandom. So I can understand why they're wanting to remake it. I kind of want to go back and play New Vegas, and I've been kind of waiting a little bit on to see if Fallout 4 New Vegas is to come out. So I was very intrigued to see, unlike Sim Settlements and King Gath, Fallout 4 New Vegas isn't great as far as giving updates. You know, they'll disappear for 6 months, and you're like, did they just quit? You know, because I can understand if they quit, but they didn't. They didn't quit, and in fact, they released a new video showcasing what they've been up to this last week. So let's check that out.
He always sings raggedy music to the cattle as he swings back and forward in his saddle on a horse that is syncopated. There is such a funny meter to the roar of his repeater, how they run when they hear the fella's gone, because the western folks all know he's a highfalutin, hootin' son of a gun from Arizona, ragtime cowboy Joe. Out in Arizona where the bad men are, the only thing to guide you is an evening star. The roughest, toughest man by far was ragtime cowboy Joe. He always sings raggedy music to the cattle as he swings back and forward in his saddle on a horse that is syncopated. There is such a funny meter to the roar of his repeater, how they run when they hear the fellas come, because the western folks all know he's a highfalutin, rootin', tootin' son of a gun from Arizona. Ragtime cowboy, talk about your cowboy. Ragtime cowboy Joe.
Golly.
Yeah, that looks really good.
It's like the perfect game, taking the story of and the whole element of New Vegas and putting it in the Fallout 4 engine. It's such a great idea.
Yes. They say that the RPG elements, the decisions impacting the story for Fallout New Vegas is better than any of these other modern Fallout games. And I don't know. I don't want to weigh in on that. I played through Fallout New Vegas and I loved it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure, I didn't get into the weeds. That's just what I've been told by people who are more enthusiastic than me about it. I am so excited about this. I really hope it happens. But you know what? If you go to their website, you can see updates going back to 2017. So this is a group that's been working hard on making this game for many years now. And so I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, this is going to happen. And we're going to be reporting on it when it does. So, be subscribed. Make sure you're following us, and we'll let you know as soon as it happens, and I'll be on it. Sounds like Shawn will probably be joining me.
Oh, yeah.
When he walks into Vegas and there's that huge neon sign up overhead, it just it gives me a feel of scale that I don't remember feeling when I played the original.
Oh. Yeah, it's probably because of that Fallout 3 engine that they were using.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played through New Vegas probably 4 times, maybe 5.
Man.
And
Wow.
I just love, because I had it on PC, my PC died. So then I bought it on Xbox, and then I played 2 characters through on Xbox. And then I bought it again when I got a new computer on PC, played it again. But yeah, I think Fallout 4 I only played through twice. So New Vegas has a special place in my heart, I think. It's safe to say. It's a good game.
Yeah, great game. I can't say enough good about it. Fallout 4 New Vegas has a sister project that wants to bring Fallout 3 to the Fallout 4 engine. It's called Fallout 4 Capital Wasteland. So you've got that too. I just wanted to say that they aren't providing as frequent updates even as Fallout 4 New Vegas. So I'm thinking that it's more likely we're going to see a New Vegas before we see Capital Wasteland. But I wanted everybody to know that that's also in the works. But there is another whole game that is being built. It's called Fallout Miami.
What?
Yes.
It's like Fallout Vice City.
It's
What?
probably the
Awesome.
biggest of all of these. Like when it comes to stuff that they've built for it. That's at least the feeling I'm getting. I'm not on the inside of any of these development crews, but people are very excited about Fallout Miami. They've been pumping this thing for years. I'm really hoping that it gets released soon to the public.
Wow.
So we have a lot of gaming to do soon. It's like everybody planted a tree 3 or 4 years ago, and they're finally getting to where we're expecting some fruit to come off of it. And I just want to encourage you, if you've moved on, maybe look back a little bit and maybe check out these projects. People clearly thought they were worth their time. And if you watch that New Vegas video and you don't feel like that looks like a fun thing to play, then, sure, don't play it. But to me, that looks incredible. And the graphics, the setting, the story that I know is going to come with it. I almost feel fortunate that I only played through New Vegas once because the decisions are so weighty. I'm going to get a whole different storyline this time. So I don't want to get too bogged down in it, but so far we've covered Fallout 4 Capital Wasteland, Fallout 4 New Vegas, Fallout Miami, and Sim Settlements 2.
It's a lot going on.
That's a lot going on. And, I'm sure there's more, and apologies if your project wasn't mentioned in this segment, but those are all 4 really big projects I'm really excited about sinking my teeth into. In fact, I've played a lot of Sim Settlements and I really enjoyed it. So I can at least put my stamp of approval on that as a unique experience for Fallout 4 lovers.
And we should seriously do a whole show on just talking about mods, all the Fallout 4 mods. There are so many good ones. I mean, it's like YouTube. There's a lot of crap too, but there's some really good gems out there.
That is a good idea. It's a really good idea.
Yeah, it really steps up. Sometimes I'm like, why didn't Bethesda think of this? But
that's what they're saying too, probably.
Probably. So, okay, we have one thing I wanted to point out is there is a Kickstarter going on right now. We at Post-Apocalyptic Media like to promote and bring attention to smaller scale projects that are within the post-apocalyptic community. This Kickstarter is called The Last Stand Aftermath. And it's a series. The Last Stand apparently has been a game, or is it the Aftermath series?
I'm not really sure.
I think Aftermath is the subtitle. But anyways, this game, it looks pretty sweet. It has this top-down kind of look to it, but it isn't turn-based. It looks like it's a real-time zombie fighting experience, and it just looks super polished and interesting. So check that out if you're a gamer. Then see if that's a Kickstarter you'd like to support. We have an article about it. Shawn wrote about it, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing I like about it the most is the basic premise of it is you're a survivor in a vault kind of a thing. You're like in a colony, and you go out, you find out you're infected. And so they're like, well, you can't stay here. So you need to go out of the vault or whatever it is, like the colony, and make a difference. You need to go out there and do something to help the rest of us. So you have, and you have like a certain amount of time before you die. I don't know what it is exactly. So you go out and you do things, you maybe loot things, you get resources, you do this kind of stuff while you're fighting zombies. And all of that accumulates, because when you die, then you start over again with a new person. And then that person goes out of the vault and it kind of continues the job of the last person. So all that accumulates to help the colony as a whole. I think that's a great idea. I think it's really kind of innovative.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I want to play that.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of like a roguelike in a way.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they call it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I love those. I know Stephanie's also a fan of the roguelike, so maybe we'll all give that a go. But check that out. It's on Kickstarter right this instant. And that will do it for us this week. I just want to thank our co-hosts here, Shawn and Stephanie, for being with us. Thank you, Morning Owl Media. And thank you, the viewers. Without you, we'd just be talking to empty space. So I appreciate it. Please visit our website for all of the latest news and subscribe to this podcast for the same. We will be here week after week. So thank you, and you have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.